there's not much you can say that's going to appease the MD's frustrations and anger. We started the season with not won a game, so it's bitterly disappointing. I thought today we started well. We opportunities, we didn't take them. That final moment is tough, and then 2 set plays. We goes back to when I first took over. We were soft at set plays, and today we looked soft at set plays, and ultimately that's cost us.
How do you said that you're kind of confident to turn it around? Do you still feel that way after the game?
Yeah, I do, because of our performance at the start. I think the second half we go in, half time, first half performance was good, the last moment wasn't good, and then because the start of the season we start to feel we need to be safe. You're losing the game, we become safe, we don't play the passes we did in the first half that caused them problems, and then the second half fizzles out because of that. So yeah, I'm still confident in that, but I'm realistic to understand that the more games that pass that we don't win, the pressure builds for sure.
When you said yesterday that at the start of the season it's on you, you can only do, but I mean the fans kind of turned on you 20 minutes to go, and you wanted that might influence people upstairs, or?
It'll be what it'll be. I think the one thing I've felt my whole time at the club as a player and as a coach and the manager is that the board are realistic, they're sensible, they understand it. If they make good decisions, in my opinion, they have done in the club for the last 5 years. But that'll be what it'll be. I can totally understand the fans' frustration. The travelling, as you see, the backing we get is fantastic, and at the moment we're not rewarding that, and that's a big disappointment.
It must get more difficult for you. Do you still have the appetite to sort of come back in next week and go again?
Oh, for sure. I love the job. I love the challenge. I love the intensity. I love the pressure that comes with it. So I love all that. I'm just really frustrated because our performances at times have been good the other day. I thought we had an intent. We carried a threat, but it's the final moments that have not given any fruit for that play, and then the goals we concede are soft. So no. I think in terms of my job, I love it. I think it's a brilliant club. I think there's so much potential. It's a really tough moment. I'm well aware of it. I understand the pressures and the consequences that come with that, but I still have full belief, if I'm honest.
Stephen, do you still feel as though you've seen enough to believe that you can guide the club out of this, that you can survive it?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to sit here and say that because I do firmly believe it. A few things in the second half are frustrating, that we don't have that ability to continue to make the right passes that we got so much success from. We do decide, we played more into their hands. They managed to, I don't know how many times in the second half we ended up with the goalie having the ball again. And they're small moments, but they're affecting us big time. And then we lost the momentum. And then at the end there it becomes desperate, and that's not where we want to be.
The fans then turned on the double substitution. What was the thinking behind that, and not bringing Musa on, who came on against Celtic in particular?
I just felt we weren't getting the ball up the pitch. Against Celtic there was space to go into, and Musa done really well at finding that space. Today it was different. The ball in the middle of the pitch, and when it went forward it wasn't staying there, so we were losing territory. St Mirren were gaining control of the game, and I wanted to get a bit more presence there so that we could then work off that. But then when I say about the choices of passes and that, we started playing into wider areas when it becomes a foot race, and we were second best at it. When we had 2 targets up front, we should have maybe hit a bit more direct with it.
Do you feel the players are like you, Stephen? Or do you feel they're still?
I'm not going to sit here and criticise the players for any of their attitude and their will to improve and get better. There's some young guys in there that are potential, and I've been there as a player, understanding these moments it's tough. You're searching about for answers, but I think us as coaches need to guide them on that. And like I said, we're not a really poor run. It's really frustrating. But again, I can see some positives today. As much as the scoreline says that it's another defeat, I think in another day, if we're better defensive set up, we walk away with at least a draw, and if our finishing was better, we maybe come away with a win. But we're in a bad place. We need to get out it as quick as we can, and that's where my head's at.
Do you get feedback from the players after the game today? They're the ones on the pitch doing it. What's their take on what's going on?
When we review the games and when we're building up to the opposition, there's a lot of dialogue on the pitch and meetings. I think a lot of what we worked on during the week, we get loads of success from today, especially in the first half. So I think it's just that, and again on the pitch it's tough because it's split-second decisions, it's having a clear head in a tense situation, and that's where you then, that split second of playing that brave pass or going backwards or deciding to put a cross in when it might be on to pass, that's where the calmness needs to be there the whole time, and I think we lost that in the second half.
Does that come a bit to you when you have the sense of the anger from fans that you feel players becoming a bit inhibited?
Listen, that's playing with hearts, that's there. You're going to live or die whether you can deal with that pressure, whether you're in a bad run of form or whether you're winning games consistently. The pressure's there. So there's a period of adjustment that you need to get, and you've got to give time to players to have that. But ultimately you need to perform consistently at this club to have a decent career.
And it hasn't been helped, Stephen. Lawrence Shanklin obviously hasn't been scoring any goals for you, so that was something that was not on the cards, was it?
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough for him. I think listening for the last 2 years, his performance and his goal record and his return's been fantastic. It's hard to continue that. There's always going to be a period where there's a dip. He's in that at the moment, but with all goal scorers, he'll get one that goes off his shin and his luck will change. But it's a tough moment for him. But that comes on the back of his performances in the last 2 years. They've been phenomenal, and there's also others that need to help him out in these moments to step up with a goal or a chance or something like that. The way we've worked and the way I've worked for the last year, I've not seen any change in anybody. As I said at the start, I'm realistic, I understand the game. I'm confident that if I get to a point where I really believe that the players aren't actually listening to me anymore or are interested, I'll walk away from it. I don't think I'm at that point. So yeah, we'll review the game, we'll work hard to get on to Ross County next week.
That's quite a big statement, Stephen, to say that you would walk away if you thought it wasn't working.
I've been there as a player. I've been at clubs where the change does have to be the coach, and I genuinely don't believe we're there. I think the first half an hour of the game we controlled it. We were on the front foot. What we'd worked on during the week was seen on the pitch, and it was good. There was a good feeling. Just in one of these moments that it's tough. Added to that these tough moments need to come to an end. If they don't come to an end, change happens. It's realistic, it's understandable, but I think the one thing that's clear from the players to the coaches to all the way to the board is everybody does understand the situation, and we understand the need to get a win.
Right, Joe, another defeat, this time 2-1 St Mirren. What were your general thoughts on the game?
Apologies to begin with because my throat is in absolute bits, and it's not because I was shouting or chanting as someone said that was on Twitter. The thoughts on the game, I thought Hearts started really well in relation to the season. Blair Spittle had a couple of chances. Thought some of the link play down the flanks was really good. Spittle was coming in the half space, Penrice was getting down the left, Vargas was causing St Mirren issues down Hearts' right hand side, getting balls in the box, and then we can see the set pieces like, well, here we go again. Credit came back and scored from Halkett's own set piece to bring it 1-1, and you're thinking, right, that's the time to step up and move on. And then the concession of the second goal, it was basic amateur schoolboy, whatever you want to call it, stuff. A long central free kick flicked on, and Ollie Sanya sneaking a cracking finish, to be fair, but it was really poor. And then, as we've seen this season, when Hearts, I'm getting more back to the Dun United game, when Hearts have started well, there's almost an inevitability about it. When things start to turn or slow down, or if they can't continue that momentum, they can never get it back, and that's it. It just kind of just peters out, fizzles out, and kind of written what I had to write with 20 minutes to go, and didn't have to really change anything just because didn't really think needed to, because I didn't think that the team were going to turn it around, and I think a lot of Hearts fans felt the same.
as you said, it was familiar failings. We'll kind of come on to that, but from what you're saying there about the start in the first half, creating chances, could have scored more than the one that they did. Does that kind of justify the team selection? Because a lot's been made about the team selection. There was another change of formation. There was more changes to the lineup. So was Stephen Naismith at least vindicated by the performance in that first half? Take away the defending, which we'll come to.
Yeah, I thought because there was a wee bit of because to be fair, he only made one change of formation, but I think he was right to do. The last couple of times came to St Mirren played a back three, but I just think that's back three kind of limits Hearts at times attacking wise. I think we at least saw some positive signs with the attacking play in the first half, but you're kind of clutching at straws when it gets down to 8 consecutive defeats and not a win and 9 to start the season. Stretch it back to last season if you want, and it's like 1 win in 15. So yeah.
And set pieces, they've become a real issue after last season. Stephen Naismith was just telling us that was an issue when he first came in.
Yep.
He's addressed it, and both goals today. I mean, one of them's just your kind of like a standard corner whipped in, but the second one's just unforgivable. It's a goalkeeper punt. It's a goalkeeper punting it. It's flicked on, and then they volleyed it in. It's just an unforgivable goal to concede.
Yeah, it's as I said, amateur, schoolboy, whatever you want. So like going back to last season, the set piece record on paper was really, really good. Conceded 1, I think, in the league. Maybe a couple, maybe more towards the end of the season. But for a long time, it was just 1 conceded. But if you dug deeper into the stats and looked at underlying stats, I'm just going to bore people with expected goals from set pieces, conceded, etc. Blah blah blah. But the stats didn't look as good as what Hearts were, the output. So there was an element of luck, but at the same time, the way he defended was getting plenty of guys in the box and making it really difficult for the other team. So it worked this season. What's that? 4 goals now from set pieces alone, which I think can think of.
Motherwell probably could add a couple more from set pieces.
St Mirren, second half had 1 or 2 opportunities, and I think you look at the set pieces and maybe just sums up this Hearts season as a whole. Regressed and looked very messy, and I think that you could say that about the whole team.
And what about the changes? There seemed to be, I mean, you asked him about Musa after the game there. He obviously showed some positive signs when he came on against Celtic. I suppose Boyce came on instead of Musa there, and I think Boyce did what he was supposed to, and the ball stuck up there a bit more, but Hearts just still didn't get over the line, and as it's been a lot of the season, they seem to be chasing games in second halves all season.
Which I think that was the first time we scored an equaliser this season. We've not been ahead.
First half goal as well. First half goal as well. So you take solace in where you can find it. You take positives where you can find it. But on the substitute itself, it's a big talking point. That's when fans turned, and it's known that like fans are really wanting to see Musa, and bringing on Boyce and Forrest. Fans know what they can do. They've been frustrated. Fans have been frustrated. Well, it's Boyce or Forrest or Oda. Want to see more of Danda. They want to see more of Musa. And it's just like this kind of the same players, so you can. I wasn't overly surprised. Maybe surprised by the extent of the frustration, but I can understand the frustration and making the feelings clear, because it's frustration and anger. Everything just boiling into one, and it's a team that can't win a game, 3rd biggest team in the country, and sitting bottom of the table after 6 games. We should give the fans a mention. Actually, they were brilliant. They turned up in their numbers again. They were vocal, even at points in that second half where things were clearly, it didn't look like Hearts were going to get back into the game, and they were still starting up songs. So they do need to be praised for them continuing to turn out in their numbers. But just to finish off, where does this kind of leave Naismith, do you think?
So just on the fans, one thing I would say is that it goes back to last season as well. Fans have been really patient, and that's not something that Hearts fans have renowned for. Like St Mirren fans are not very patient, and there's a few fan bases in the country that are not very patient. I would put Hearts in that category, whether it's home or away. But the last 18 months or so, I don't know if you can kind of tie it in with the ultras, but there's been a lot more patience, a lot more support, a lot more backing. So So it's understandable when things really get bad that they deserve to make their feelings as clear as they want.
But
and
it wasn't like the whole game or
No,
the whole
it was
afternoon.
only
It wasn't
the
like they
last
turned
15.
up to protest or anything. It was just when this game didn't go well, they had their moment.
It was one moment, cause
and then they went back to supporting them.
Yeah, it was one moment. So yeah, they've the fans have been a constant positive over the last couple of years, that's for sure. Where that leaves Naismith.
You've done well.
Yeah, he looked really deflated. One thing I would say about Naismith is that he's good, and I know fans like to see a bit more emotion, but he's really good at keeping his emotions in check. Well, not getting too high, not getting too low, but he looked a wee bit kind of defeated and deflated. It was a lot of the stuff he was interesting. He said a lot of the stuff I wasn't surprised in what he said, and that kind of what will be. If he feels like he can't take this team on further, he'll walk away. He still believes he can turn it around, but it's not his decision. It should be the club's decision, and yeah, it's a big one. I don't want to see folk lose their jobs, and see folks. If I was I'm taking my professionalism away. If I was in the fans, I'd be like, yeah, it's time to go. When you're in this position now, I think there's just more patience to like our willingness to want them to kind of turn it around. I really like them, but it's hard to see where that turnaround is coming. And I really feel this, like the Ross County game, it's going to be Motherwell all over again when Levine was in charge. If Nace was there, I think there'll be kind of protests. I think fans have voiced their feelings. So yeah, it's a very, very difficult situation. But Naismith will be the first to say that he would understand that view, because he knows what the expectation is at Hearts, and it's not winning a game in the first 9 games.
Yep, on to next week. Remember to check everything out at heartstandard.co.uk.